Hello, and thank you for standing by for JD.com's third quarter 2020 earnings conference call. And at this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. After management prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session, and today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objection, you may disconnect at this time. And I'd like to turn the meeting over to your host for today's conference, Roy Yubi. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator, and welcome to our third quarter 2020 earnings conference call. Joining me today on the call are Mr. Lei Xu, CEO of JD Retail, Mr. Zhenhui Wang, CEO of JD Logistics, Sandy Xu, our CFO, and Professor Liao, our CSO. For today's agenda, Sandy will discuss highlights for the third quarter 2020, and other management will join the Q&A session. Before we continue, I refer you to our safe harbor statement in the earnings press release, which apply to this earnings call, as we will make forward-looking statements. Also, this call includes discussions of certain non-GAAP financial measures. Please refer to our earnings release, which contains a reconciliation of non-GAAP measures to the most direct comparable GAAP measures. Finally, please note that unless otherwise stated, all figures mentioned during this conference call are in RMB. Now I would like to turn the call over to our CFO, Sandy.
Thanks, Yu. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our earnings call today. We are pleased to report a strong set of financial results for the third quarter of 2020. We delivered a solid performance in a seasonally light quarter and set new records for many operating and financial metrics. JD leads by example in contributing to the society and supporting the recovery of real economy. We have opened up our retail ecosystem, our self-built supply chain infrastructure, and technology capacity to empower our suppliers, our merchants, and our business partners. We run our business with a long-term philosophy and pursue long-term sustainable growth. Our mission is to improve operating efficiency for the supply chain through technology innovations, and we share growth opportunities and economic benefit with our staff, business partners, and society. Our unwavering effort in supporting society and our users continue to gain positive recognition and win trust from more and more consumers. This has been reflected in our solid growth of active users and improvement in user engagement across different tiers of cities. Our annual active customers in the past 12 months reached 442 million, adding more than 100 million customers, up 32% from a year ago, the highest growth rate in the past 3 years. We obtained more than 24 million net additional customers compared to last quarter, the largest expansion in the seasonally light September quarters in our history. This once again validates our long-term operating philosophy to run our business with a customer-centric focus. We continue to generate traction in the lower tier cities, which contributed about 80% of our new users this quarter. We are also inspired by the further enhanced consumer loyalty and engagement of our core users, who appreciate the consistency of products and service quality we deliver every day. Our core users are buying products from more categories from us and more frequently. We have become a part of many users' daily lives. It's worth highlighting that our JD Plus members exceeded 20 million in October, an important milestone for our paid membership program. JD Plus was the first paid e-commerce membership program in China, designed to better serve our core users. Besides the benefits offered on JD app, such as shopping rebates and free shipping coupons. JD Plus has partnered with over 600 industry-leading brands to provide our members with comprehensive privileges in sectors such as movie tickets, travel, hotel bookings, fitness, education, dining, and entertainment. Our data shows that JD Plus has effectively improved the engagement and retention of our core users. As our Plus members shop more frequently with an ARPU, average revenue per user, that is multiple times higher than that of non-Plus members. By integrating with the resources of our brand partners, JD Plus has also created an industry benchmark in the paid e-commerce membership. Our Q3 financial results largely reflect our quality user growth with enhanced user engagement. We reported net revenues of 174 billion RMB for the third quarter, a year-over-year growth of 29.2%, maintaining strong growth momentum even on the back of Q2 peak season and over last year's high base. General merchandise revenues grew by 35% year-over-year, led by the supermarket and healthcare categories. Net service revenues grew 43% year-over-year, led by the accelerated growth of JD Logistics and strong performance of our advertising business. Our net service revenues contributed to over 13% of total net revenues, making another historical record. As the economy gradually returns to normal from the peak of COVID-19 outbreak, JD Logistics continued to gain trust from its business partners and delivered an accelerated revenue growth. Besides our solid user and top-line growth, there are a few notable operating and financial performances we want to highlight. First, JD Retail's operating margin reached 3.9% in Q3, a record in our history, and an improvement of 56 basis points compared to the same quarter last year. What's notable is that our operating efficiency continues to improve even as our product mix shifts from the large ticket size but low frequency categories such as 3C and home appliance to the small ticket size but high frequency consumer staple categories. Order volume for the supermarket categories grew by over 48% year-over-year in Q3. Another key metric illustrating our operating efficiency improvement is our inventory turnover days, which further reduced to 34.3 days in the last 12 months. This is one of the lowest among the top global retailers and our own historical records. Despite the total number of SKUs managed by us continue to increase with our category expansion. Once again, this validates the power of our scale-driven business model and our long-term margin trajectory. Secondly, our 3C and home appliance categories continue to outperform the industry tremendously, and we continue to gain market share. Our unparalleled supply chain capability better position us, in particular amid the absence of new flagship products from the leading electronics brands starting Q3. As we mentioned before, our 3C and home appliance categories have significant operating and cost structure advantages over our peers, enabling us to provide the best value and service to consumers. We continue to expand our supply chain capability further upstream, bringing more customized products to different consumers and create value for our business partners. Thirdly, JD Logistics is another prominent example of our long-term investment in user-centric experience and supply chain infrastructure. Since we opened our service to third parties in 2017, JD Logistics has made notable progress in providing its customers with integrated logistics services to improve their warehouse management and fulfillment efficiency. As JD Logistics gains more customer recognition, revenue generated from third-party customers contributed nearly half of JD Logistics' total revenues in September. JD Logistics also supports the growth of our 3P merchants on our e-commerce platform. Products marked as delivered by JD Logistics come with more trustworthy and more reliable services, and therefore are often the preferred shopping choices of customers and help generate more organic traffic. Moving down the line, our fulfilled gross margin improved to 8.7% this quarter, compared to 8.4% in Q3 last year. This was mainly driven by the margin improvement of JD Retail and JD Logistics. With our continuous improvement in operating efficiency, our marketing, R&D, and G&A expense ratios in the third quarter improved across the board by 16 basis points, 30 basis points, and 8 basis points respectively, compared to the same quarter last year. As a result, our non-GAAP operating income grew 77% to 5.3 billion RMB, and non-GAAP operating margin was 3%, up 82 basis points from the same quarter last year, the highest level in our history. Moving to the bottom line, our non-GAAP net income attributable to ordinary shareholders in Q3 grew at 80% year-over-year to 5.6 billion RMB from 3.1 billion RMB in the same period last year. Non-GAAP net margin was 3.2%, up 90 basis points from a year ago, and again a historical record. Excluding the temporary relief of the Social Security benefit, the margin improvements we recorded in the first 3 quarters have clearly demonstrated the snowball effect that we continue to generate with our scale-driven business model. With our healthy profitability as a basis, we plan to invest in fast-growing businesses. Specifically, the supermarket category is a key growth area that we are very committed to continuing our investment in to further strengthen our consumer mindshare and market leadership. As our online B2C supermarket operation continues to generate growth momentum, we have been exploring various new business models in different markets to better capture the growth opportunity in this category. Our aim is always to better serve the diverse needs of our customers with quality products and services. Logistics infrastructure is another strategic area we will continue to invest in to expand our integrated service capacity for the long-term growth. We will also continue to invest in our users and our people. All of these investments truly reflect our long-term operating philosophy. Free cash flow for the quarter improved to 7.5 billion RMB as compared to 63 million RMB in the same quarter last year. Free cash flow for the last 12 months reached over 30 billion RMB, grew by 93% year-over-year. As of September 30th, 2020, cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, and short-term investments added up to a total of 127 billion RMB. We have a strong liquidity position. In conclusion, JD showed remarkable resilience again in Q3 as China emerges from the pandemic. We delivered both robust top-line growth and year-over-year improvement of profitability while investing in our capabilities in strategic areas. It's quite clear that these achievements were driven by our unique business model and operating philosophy. But more importantly, JD's resilience is underpinned by our relentless focus on offering true value for our consumers and unreserved empowerment of our business partners through our technology and infrastructure. Many users are still shifting from offline to online, and the e-commerce penetration is re-accelerating in many categories. JD is well prepared to capture the secular trend, and we will continue to invest for the long term. This concludes my prepared remarks. Let's open the call for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the question and answer session of this conference call will start in a moment. In order to be fair to all callers who wish to ask questions, we will take one question at a time from each caller. If you have more than one question, please request to join the question queue again after your first question has been addressed. And if you have questions, please press star and the number 1 and wait for your name to be announced. And to cancel the request, it is the pound or hash key. Once again, it is star 1 to ask a question. First question comes from the line of Ronald Keung of Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Richard, Xu Dong, Wang Dong, Sandy, Ray, and team, and congratulations on a very strong results. My question was around your supermarket strategy. Sandy, you just mentioned about further investments into supermarket. Could you just share how are we sort of thinking about the strategy of your mega warehouse, your store to home? Where are we in the progress of natural selection initiatives? And would you be able to share any thoughts on emerging models like the pre-order and next day self-pickup model, where most people talk and mention as the community group purchases? How do we think about these, given we do have a lot of strong users and the supply chain capabilities? Thank you.
Thanks, Ronald. On your question regarding supermarket and fresh, I think first of all, this is a huge market, and we have seen a structural opportunity for this category. So this will definitely be a strategic priority for our group. And we have, as I mentioned just now, we have demonstrated or proved the business model for our traditional B2C operations, and now we have experimenting, and we are also exploring different business models or initiatives in this area, covering top tier cities and lower tier market. So because this is a huge market, we understand that there are many companies entering into the market, but we believe by the end of the day, there will be quite a few players, and we don't have to compete head to head at this stage. So the fact is, fresh produce is an even more tough category for e-commerce or retail due to the low ticket size and high loss ratios during the production and fulfillment process. So, we don't believe subsidy is a competitive advantage. The key to win is to find a way or solution to improve the operating efficiency of the existing business processes and reduce operating costs. So this is exactly our mission or our operating philosophy. So we will continue to invest in infrastructure and our supply chain capability to build our core advantages in this category or this area.
Thank you.
So just to supplement, for the various new business models we are experimenting, that would include the 7Fresh store warehouse business model, the community group purchase model, or the distribution warehouse models.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Thomas Chong of Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thanks management for taking my questions and congratulations on a strong set of results. Given our strong user growth trend, can you comment about how we should think about the user outlook in 2021, and in particular our strategies in lower tier cities penetration? And on that front, can you also comment about the competitive landscape in the online shopping space next year? Thank you.
好，我是京东零售的徐雷。
This is Xu Lei of JD Retail.
今年因为受疫情的影响呢，这个整体的网上零售行业的增长非常好，那么京东呢也增速在这里面表现更好，我们的渗透率也是不断的去提升。越来越多消费者也接受了这种网络购物，尤其我们发现在第一线市场和45岁以上的人群加入，应该是这一次新的网购人群的增长的一个来源。
Due to the impact of the coronavirus in 2020, we see the overall growth of online shopping, online consumption has been growing rapidly, and JD is a beneficiary in this process. And our penetration rate into the Chinese consumption market has been growing up, especially in the lower tier cities and among the users about 45 years old. So we believe people's shopping behaviors online has been formed and is here to stay.
从品类角度，我们可以看到的是，会有一些分化的表现，健康、居家、生鲜和消费品这些品类的这个增速是受到需求的旺盛。那么另外一些品类呢，受制于国际的公认的影响，增速呢相对的放缓。但整体来说，由于京东是一个全品类的大平台，所以我们会保持一个稳定的一个增长。同时，我们也通过我们自己核心的能力、供应链的能力和比较独特的消费者心智，使我们在很多品类的市占率进一步提升。
At the same time, we do some different performance on the different categories. For example, there's a very strong demand in the categories of healthcare products, household products, and fresh food, etc. But for some other categories, due to the impact of the international supply chain, the growth is slower than expected. But overall, for JD.com, we are a comprehensive platform that offer all kinds of categories. So these ensure we will have a very sustainable and stable growth this year. And at the same time, we will also leverage our strength in supply chain and our reputations and the market share we have among Chinese customers to keep a leading position on this market.
从整个的布局角度来说，我们会一方面继续探索新的线上的和线下的这种流量场，另一方面我们还继续去打造我们供应链中台和全渠道的能力，去为这些原有和新增的这些流量场提供独特的供应链能力。那么我相信这也是京东区别于其他平台最大的我们的竞争力。
At the same time, we will also continue to explore new traffic fields both online and offline, and will continue to strengthen our mid-end capacities in terms of supply chain and our omni-channel strategies. And we believe based on these unique strengths of supply chains and our special competitiveness, will continue to a better position on this market.
我们可以看到，我们最近几个季度的我们整个的用户的增长都会非常强劲的。我们也发现这里面包括了我们老用户的持续的消费的提升，同时呢，新用户也得益于其他平台的教育，而当消费者成熟以后呢，会转到适合他们购买的平台上面。那么我们一直认为的是，京东是以供应链和服务能力见长的，那么跟消费者自身的消费行为的发展，那么其实是匹配的。那么所以我们愿意用长期的视角去看待用户的增长和发展。
And we have seen that over these quarters, we have a very healthy growth in terms of the users.
we do see our existing users are shopping more frequently on our platforms. And for the new users, because they already been educated and having cultivated through other platforms, when they become more mature and more customized online shoppers, they will shift to a better platform that can provide better services for them. As you know that JD is a platform with the strength of supply chain and services. We have a better competitiveness to match the shopping behaviors for more and more customers. So we would rather take a long-term perspective to see the sustainable growth of our user space.
那么最后呢，想强调，我们可能会之前、现在以及未来，我们会强调这些关键词。第一个是用户体验，第二是开放，第三个全渠道，第四是中台能力打造，尤其是以供应链中台为代表。这将是会在我们持续很长时间里面，这是我们的能力的打造。
And either in the past or now in the future, I would like to give four keywords for our long-term development. The first is focusing on our users' experience. Second, we'll keep open and we'll develop our omni-channel strategy and strengthen our team and capacity building, so focusing on supply chain. So the four key areas will be in the long run of our strategy emphasize.
谢谢。
Thank you for your question.
Maybe let me add a little bit. We have demonstrated that our lower tier city approach was effective. As I mentioned at the opening remarks, around 80% of our new users were coming from lower tier cities in Q3, and I also want to highlight that our marketing expense ratio is also decreasing. That means we can acquire users and retain these users more efficiently. These were driven by our improved technology and algorithm behind the front platform. So far we have seen very healthy user trends. So users are shifting from the high ticket size low frequency items to the low ticket size but high frequency purchases.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Jin Yoon of New Street Research. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, good evening, and thanks for taking my question. So I know that last quarter that you guys announced that you're not going to provide guidance going forward, but given the fact that we're seeing a pretty profound seasonality with second and fourth quarter promotions kind of where they are, perhaps you can kind of give us kind of a directional view of how we should look at the fourth quarter. If it's kind of the similar trajectory that we should look on a year-over-year basis compared to the other second quarter. So any kind of color there would be pretty helpful. And then even on the margin side, we've seen this pretty significant operating margin leverage in the first 9 months of the year. And just, is there any reason why we can't see the same kind of a step-up function in the fourth quarter as well? So any kind of directional view on the margin as well as kind of on the revenue side color would be great. Thanks.
Sure. This is Sandy. Let me respond to your question. For future trend, in Q3 we continued the great momentum from the first half year on user engagement and new user acquisition, particularly in the lower tier market. So this formed a very good basis for our Q4 promotion season. In the past Double 11 promotion, our performance exceeded our internal expectation, and the user numbers and traffic were very healthy so far, as I just mentioned. I think the trend of users shifting from offline to online continues, and we will continue to invest and focus on user acquisition and engagement, in particular for our fast-growing categories. But we also want to emphasize that we see stronger seasonality this year as the users are now better educated by the e-commerce platforms. So this is a generic trend for top line. And then for bottom line, you can now see that the scale benefit of our retail business and logistics business have been gradually realized. So we now see opportunity for accelerated penetration of e-commerce in China. To catch up this opportunity, we are going to reinvest the extra profit that we generated in the first 9 months of 2020 in user experience.
in some of our fast-growing categories or new business initiatives, if this can help us gain market share in the long run. So you may see similar pattern of net margin seasonality in Q4 as in last year.
Thank you. Next question is from Gregory Zhao of Barclays. Please go ahead.
Hi, Benjamin. Thanks for taking my question, and congratulations on a strong quarter. So my question is about the RCEP. So we know a group of the Asian countries made the free trade agreement over the regional, the comprehensive partnership. So a lot of products and services will be covered in the agreement, and we know some free tax terms will also be introduced. So would you please help us understand the opportunities from RCEP to China e-commerce and also the cross-border e-commerce market, and how JD can take the opportunity? Thank you.
我是金融零售徐磊。首先分享一下我们整个的今年的跨境业务的增长还是非常好的。同时呢，我们根据我们的监控，我们的 NPS 就是用户的体验指标也在持续的提升。那么这个跨境免税业务是我们非常关注的。
This is Xu Lei from JD Retail. To respond to your question, regarding the growth of our cross-border business, it has been growing steadily this year, and we also see that our NPS score, which is our net promoter scores, to show the usage experience, is also growing rapidly. We pay higher attention to the field of duty-free products and the cooperation on the cross-border in these aspects.
那么因为这个是今天刚刚宣布的新闻，那么实际上我们也在跟踪和解读，但是我们的态度首先，这个对东亚的各个国家的生产和消费都是具有非常好的利好的消息。
Since this is newly announced news recently, just one day ago, we're still following the news and trying to understand the implications of this new regional cooperation. And we believe that this is very positive news for both the production and consumption in the ASEAN and Asian region.
然后我们也会利用我们的这个各种的优势，包括品牌，包括供应链的优势，我们的密切的关注。那么我们相信我们也会能够抓住这个机会，但具体的细节我们后续还要再跟踪再解读。
And of course, we will take full advantage of our strength in our cooperation with international brands and also our supply chain capacity to catch these opportunities. So we will watch closely on the development and to see the opportunities to further develop our business. And thanks for your question.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Eddie Leung of Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Good evening, 晚上好。I'm just a bit curious on your gross margin. So we see your gross margin and fulfilled gross margin both improved in the quarter. However, we also noticed that your marketplace and advertising revenue actually grew slower than your direct sales business. So I'm just wondering what are the key reasons behind the gross margin improvement? Does it mean our 1P revenue gross margin actually improving? Thank you.
This is Sandy. Thanks for your question, Eddie. On your question regarding gross margin, I think for JD Retail, the gross margin improvement was mainly contributed by the change of product mix. As we mentioned that the customer's purchase behavior is shifting from low frequency to high frequency. And also the scale benefits that we realized from all categories. So the gross margin is gradually improving for all the products. And then talking about fulfilled gross margin, so again, this is contributed by the scale benefit and partially contributed by the relief of the Social Security benefit by the government. But the majority of the benefit was realized in the first half year with a small amount left in Q3. So advertising revenue actually grew faster than the top line product sales. But this is the growth of advertising revenue is kind of offset by the slower growth of the commission revenue because for 3P business, although the GMV actually grew very healthy, but the GMV or the product categories with lower commission ratio grew faster than the categories with higher commission ratio.
Thank you. Next question is from Alicia Yap of Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my questions, and also congrats on the solid results. My questions is related to the growth trend for the general merchandise. I think this quarter, the growth rate, 35%, still very solid, but just a little bit more interested to get management view on any elaboration you could provide in terms of a slight decelerated growth from the second quarter achieved for this general merchandise. I think you mentioned the supermarket actually grew about 48%. So just wonder which category actually experienced a bit more seasonal, slower growth than before. And then just very quickly on the single stage GMV performance, how do you rate and compare that with your expectation versus June 18? Seems like it is actually stronger than June 18. And is that driven by pricing or any reasons for that strong single stage? Thank you.
That's a very good question. So for general merchandise, I mentioned earlier that we saw robust order volume growth in Q3. The order volume grew by 48% in the quarter. So what happened is, so if you compare with the second quarter, you see that the growth rate slowed down a little bit. I mentioned last quarter, if you remember, there were some COVID-related sales in the first half, including the cleansing products, the disinfectant, liquid soap, etc. So the sales volume dropped for these products in Q3 as the users, they already had sufficient inventory stored at their home. And also in Q3, the fresh, if we look at fresh produce category, its largest subcategory is seafood. So it was a drag of our overall growth due to a few COVID cases reported during the quarter were in relation to the imported seafood. So the other subcategories under fresh produce were continued to grow very strong during the quarter, but they were with relatively lower ticket size and revenue contribution. So overall, we see the order number, the user growth, and the traffic under general merchandise continue to be very strong during the third quarter. Sorry, what was your second question?
双十一。我是京东零售区的，我简单介绍一下双十一的情况。
This is Julie. To answer the question related to the Singles' Day Grand Promotion.
对，就像京东一直坚持的，我们双十一并不是看11号这一天，所以说我们如果是今年的1号到11号去看的话，我们对整个的增长还是非常满意的。
As we have stressed that we will not only looking at the performance from the 11th to Single Day, if we look at the grand promotion period from November the 1st to the 11th, we're very pleased with the growth results.
同时呢，我们现在用更长的时间去看，因为双十一，由于今年的双十一呢，对整个的消费的影响，对在品牌商来说也都是非常重要的，所以说我们更愿意用更长的时间，比如说从10月1号到11月11号，将近1个半月的时间来看的话，我们认为也是表现得非常好。
And for this year, because of the epidemic impact and so on, we would like to drag the time span even longer, because this time our brand partners also pay high attention on these activities. So if we drag the timeline from October the 1st to 11th, for 1.5 months time, we are achieving a much better result than expected.
那么整个今年双11跟618比呢，我认为之所以表现好，大概有2方面的原因。一个是消费端的话，很多的消费者确确实在年底呢，增加了消费的支出。
For the reasons why the Double 11's performance is even better than the 618 shopping festival, I think there are 2 reasons. And one reason is on the consumer side. As we can understand that by the end of the year, a lot of consumers, they have a bigger shopping plan to purchase more stuff.
另外呢，除了品牌商以外呢，那么中小商家呢，在今年的11月份这个时间点，相对来说，它受疫情影响会更少一些，所以说它的运营、它的商品的组织会比6月份更从容一些，所以说带来了综合的效应。
And on the supply side, in addition to the brand partners, we also see that for the small and medium-sized businesses, they are better recovered than in June from this epidemic. So they are in a more comfortable and more ready position to prepare their products and to do their operations. This also contributes to a better performance of the sales growth.
谢谢。
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Next question is from Jerry Lee of UBS. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, management. Yeah, my question is on the logistics business. We saw in the third quarter revenue growth year-over-year accelerated versus the last couple of quarters. So just wanted to get an understanding what are some of the things we did, maybe services or new initiatives, especially for the third-party merchants where we saw the revenue mix come up. And secondarily, we've also heard that from our checks that some of the brands were more willing to work with JD Logistics as some of the traditional logistics infrastructure was not as able to handle the demand post-COVID. So just wanted to check with you and see if you have any comments regarding that kind of situation. Thank you.
我是京东物流王振辉。
This is Wang Zhenhui from JD Logistics.
首先感谢你的问题哈，就是的确3季度我们的业务收入做到了这个加速增长，这背后可能主要有几个原因。首先是我们长期坚持的这个体验第一的这么一个经营的策略。
Thanks for your question. And as you mentioned, indeed, we have seen accelerating growth of our business in Q3. There are several reasons. First, I think it's attributed to our long-term commitment to our improvement of users' experience.
因为京东物流的整个的战略的核心就包括体验为本、技术驱动和效率制胜。围绕我们的战略，我们会围绕客户的需求来进行我们的基础设施的能力的长期的投入和建设，确保了我们的这个体验第一。无论是疫情期间还是非疫情下，我们都保障了这个客户的体验，也给我们的客户带来一些价值，所以这是客户选择我们的最核心的原因。谢谢。
For JD Logistics, our value propositioning is to provide the best user experience and driven by technology and win from our efficiency improvements. So we have always increased our investment in our capacity building to provide more services and infrastructures to cater to the needs of our customers. And no matter if during the COVID period or in the normal time, we will always ensure we provide the best supply chain services to our customers to provide value for them. I think this is the key reason they choose us for more cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from James Lee of Mizuho. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my questions. 2 questions here. First, on online pharmacy, can you talk about some of the key frictions you're trying to resolve to drive higher online adoptions? should we think about you as more supply constrained or demand constrained? And maybe can you update also on the margin profile long term? I think previously you mentioned maybe 2 times higher than offline pharmacy chains. And also second, can you talk about the implication of the new antitrust regulations? How does that impact e-commerce and JD? Thanks.
So we apologize that for any question in relation to JD Health, we cannot respond at this call because they are in the middle of an IPO process. So if you have any questions, you may reach out to their investor relationship team.
Yes, this is John Liao. I will take the second question in regard to the antitrust. Totally different from typical C2C platform. JD is mainly a B2C retailer with its own merchandising, inventory, marketing, sales, and logistics. That's the first point I want to make. And the second, as the JD continues to expand into other categories beyond 3C like fashion, actually JD has been victimized by anti-competitive behaviors where merchants are being asked to do, or pick one out of 2. So the third point I want to make is JD fully support the antitrust regulation, which we believe is very important for healthy growth and innovation of the business ecosystem in particular and the country economy in general. And lastly, which is most importantly, since day one, our founder Richard Liu has subscribed to a business principle called 35 cents, on which if we make $1 profit, 30 cents goes to farmers, and 35 cents for our employees, and the remaining 35 cents for JD continuing growth. As such, JD is fully committed to a healthy ecosystem that is relying on cooperation, coexistence, and co-evolution.
Thank you. Next question is from Jialong Shi of Nomura. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my questions. 我这里有2个问题，我想刚刚那个 Sandy 一开始讲的就是说这个生鲜电商的话，我们目前也在测试不同的这样一个一些商业模式，包括 Seven Fresh， 还有这个社区团购，还有这个前置仓的这种模式，我不知道我是不是听准确了。那我们现在在测试的这些模式里面，可不可以请管理层跟我们讲一讲，就是这几种模式，我们正在测试的这几种模式，它的这个分别的这个优点跟缺点是怎么样的？然后第二个就是从长远来看的话，想问一下管理层，就是您觉得这些模式哪一种模式或者哪几种模式未来会是这个生鲜电商的一个主导的一个模式？然后第二个问题就是想请问一下 Sandy， 就是您刚刚讲就是4季度我们会把一些前9个月的一些 extra profits 再投资到这个用户体验里面，那么能不能给我们一些 color， 我们怎么样去就是说这个 extra profits 这个怎么去 model 这个 extra profits？ 我自己翻译一下。I have 2 questions. The first question is about the grocery e-commerce business. Management mentioned earlier JD is piloting some of the fresh grocery models, including Seven Fresh and the community group buy model, etc. Could management provide some colors on the strengths and the weakness of each of the models, and which model in the management's current view has the potential to become the dominant model in the future for the online fresh grocery business? And the second question is about the guidance for Q4. Sandy mentioned JD will reinvest the extra profits earned in the first 9 months into improving user experience in Q4. So could management give us some colors? What is the size of the extra profits you guys are aiming to invest in Q4? Thank you.
我是京东零售徐雷，我先回答第一个关于这个生鲜或者是社区团购的问题。
This is Xu Lei from JD Retail. To answer your first question about the fresh food community group buying.
生鲜确实是一个巨大的赛道。那么我相信现在引起了很多的，无论是传统的零售的巨头，还是互联网的公司或者新兴的公司，对这个赛道的关注。
For the fresh food market is indeed a very huge segment, and you have seen that there are many participants. It's like fighting and exploring in these areas. including those traditional retailers and internet players and also some emerging companies.
但是整个中国的生鲜市场实际上跟欧美国家相比呢是极其复杂的。那么包括传统的零售，它是大家其实比如说我们中国传统的商超的巨头前10名，大概只占整个中国的市场的5%，这个在欧美国家是不可想象的。
And I want to address that for the Chinese fresh food market, it's very different. The landscape is very different from the European and the US market. It's more complicated. Or in China, the traditional retailers in fresh food categories, the top 10 players, top 10 supermarket brands only take about 5% of the overall Chinese market. This is a much smaller amount compared with the Western market.
我们把生鲜大概分成了5个赛道，或者说5个大赛道，因为每个有些赛道里面还会有新的一些不同的模式，但是大致5个赛道就是线上的 B2C 电仓，就3Fresh 这种电仓的模式，还有社区的生鲜，还有生鲜的 B2B， 还有前置仓，这5个赛道。
In general, we can categorize the fresh food market into 5 segments, where we call it the racing tracks. Namely, first is the B2C, second is the warehouse stores, and the third is the community group buying, and the fourth is the B2B, and the fifth is
前置仓。
Oh yeah, it's a front distribution center, FDC.
那么京东实际上对整个生鲜品类一直是保持高关注度和参与度。那么从最早的 B2C， 包括后来的电仓，那么这2个业务都做得非常的扎实。那么同时呢，我们也在探索一些新的赛道，但是我们认为这些不同的赛道或者叫业态的模式呢，实际上是完全不同的盈利的模型。
Actually, for JD, we have started our exploration and investment in these categories, in these racing tracks, including the B2C models and the warehousing store models. And we'll keep our eye open and to explore the new territories. Actually, for each different categories, the business models and the profitability methods are very different.
OK， 那么我们也看到很多的公司呢，在其中的一个赛道呢，把它更多的作为一种流量场来去。其实我们是希望通过供应链和服务来建立可持续的商业模式，而不是一个短期的一个快速的靠补贴为主的一个流量型的生意。
And we also noticed that for many companies in this competition, they are using these channels as a traffic flow field. However, for JD, we would rather to use our supply chains and our premier services to create a more sustainable ecosystem for the growth of the fresh food areas. So we rather not use this as a short-term opportunities and using subsidies to boost the development of the fresh food market, rather than to develop in a more sustainable and stable business model in this field.
尤其某些赛道，我们认为它是具备了区域化这个区域性本地化和长期的3个最主要的特点。
And for some of these business models, it has to be focused on this region and to truly localize the services and to perform in the long run.
除了京东已经在做的大家知道的 B2C 和电仓以外，我们对新的赛道我们会保持关注和投入。那么我们是以长期的用户价值为核心，去满足消费者的需求。那么深化包括供应链能力在内的核心能力，可持续的商业模式，这是我们最看重的。
So we will, in addition to our B2C and warehousing stores models, we'll continue to be alert and continue to explore and invest in the new models. So we value the most is sustainable and stable business models. So we'll continue to focus on our core strength of supply chain to make sure these models will be stable and sustainable and provide value for our customers.
好，谢谢。
Thank you.
So regarding your second question of the reinvestment of our net income, If you remember that at the beginning of the year, we set the target for this year is that we were going to deliver steady growth in that margin. At this stage, we can see that we are confident we can deliver that on an annual basis. That means we have sufficient resources for reinvestment in the fourth quarter. Because the market situation is changing very rapidly, we are going to make dynamic adjustments to our investments in the various initiatives based on the ROI. Some of the initiatives that we talked about just now are actually for the long-term projects. That means the investments may last till next year. For next year, we are still in the middle of our budgeting process. We will then share our thoughts on the resource allocation or the target for next year at our next quarter's earnings call.
Thank you. Next question is from Eddie Wang of Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, management. Thank you for taking my question, and congratulations on the good results. I have a very quick follow-up on the online fresh grocery. If you look at next year, given that a lot of the players, they actually tend to be very aggressive in penetrating into this online fresh grocery. What's your thoughts of the market share? Are we still taking all these players still taking the market share from offline, the web market or supermarket, or have you seen any signs that these players are just starting to taking market share from each other? Yeah, just a very simple follow-up. Thank you.
This
is Xu Lei from JD Retail.
整个今年的大商超的这个品类呢，一方面受益于疫情，确实让很多的传统的购物的消费者转到了线上，另外也受益于我们持续多年的在线上商超的，无论是在货品或品牌商，包括物流履约的能力持续打到下，那么今年增长速度会非常快。
Indeed, in this year 2020, JD Super, our online supermarket platform, has been benefited from the first of all the impact of the epidemic. A lot of customers who used to buy things offline have shifted to our online platforms, and their behaviors stay with us. Also, this is a result of our years of investment our product selections and our cooperation with our brand partners and our superior fulfillment capacities, and all these have contributed to the faster growth of JD Super.
我们看到的是我们的核心的大商超的品类，整个的销售额的提升和市占率的提升确实是在持续增长。但另外呢，由于整个大商超它的购买习惯导致它其实本身的线上化率并不像3C 电子产品一样那么高，也就意味着我们还有更大的空间。
Indeed, we do see a strong growth in terms of sales and market shares in our JD Super categories. However, because the shopping behaviors for these product categories are very different from consumer electronic products, actually, for the fresh groceries, their online shopping penetration rate is still relatively low. There's still space to grow.
尽管我们在很多的品类或者品牌上面，我们是某品牌国际性品牌或者国内品牌的全球第一大的KA， 但是实际上因为确实这是一个非常分散的渠道。
Though you have seen that JD has become the global number one or the key account for many brands or many products, both international brands or domestic brands, but actually for these categories, the market is very huge and the penetration rate is still space to grow.
那么我想有很多的品牌之所以愿意选择京东的合作呢，大概实际上我们也分了几个阶段。从最初在京东上是一个好的销售渠道，能帮他们更低成本的、更高效率的去卖货，这是第一步。
And we do see actually why there's a lot of brands choose JD to cooperate. We do have to go through several phases. For phase one, the brands see JD as a very effective sales channels to help them to bring down the cost and increase sales opportunities.
那么第二步的时候，很多品牌商开始跟我们做全域的营销，尤其是在整个的会员粉丝的经营上，因为很多品牌商实际上他们的会员的本身的数字化能力相对是比较差的，通过跟京东的合作，它全域的数字化的会员经营能力大幅度提升。
And for phase two, we start to work with our brand partners to do more marketing and to manage their members and the fans to help them to increase their digitalization capacities to engage with their members.
第三呢，就是我们开始跟品牌商做 C2M 的定制化的商品，去针对比如说像下沉市场，或者说有针对性的这个目标人群。现在整个大商超品类里面有将近30%的 SKU 是属于定制化的产品，而这个是需要销售的数据的积累和算法。那么在这方面，很多的品牌跟我们展开了非常好的合作。
And for phase three, we continue to build more C2M products, namely the consumers to manufacture products to tailor to the needs of different cohorts of consumers from the lower tier cities who have special preferences, etc. So currently, more than 30% of our sales on JD Super are coming from the differentiated products we collaborate with our brand partners. And these achievements are based on our vast data and advanced algorithms. So this is a very close and deepened cooperation with our with our brand partners in this space.
最后一点，那么现在我们在做的全渠道的整个的业务，其中大商超这个品类是应该说是发展是最好的。那么它不仅仅受到了线下的零售商的欢迎，同时也受到了品牌商的欢迎。品牌商可以在线上线下整体去看生意，包括通过京东的数据等等，包括系统和工具，实际上是品牌商、平台以及线下零售商可以三方去受益，包括消费者也会去受益。
And for phase two, under our omni-channel strategies, and JD Super is doing a great job and being very welcomed by multiple players with us. JD Super under this omni-channel, JD Super's brand partners, both online and offline, would look at their business performance both online and offline through our data, through our systems and tools. So this format is very well performing and well received by our brand partners, platforms, and also benefit our customers.
最后透露一点，我相信在不远的将来，大商超这个品类将会成为我们京东第一大品类。
And I would like to share with you this ambition that I believe JD Super in the future will become the #1 category on JD's overall platform. Thank you for question.
Thank you. Our last question comes from the line of Hanjun Kiro Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Great. Thank you for your time today. I wanted to follow up on live streaming and I guess your partnership with Kuaishou and so forth. How you see kind of experimentation going on there and the outlook for next year as well. Thank you.
我京东刘徐雷简单介绍一下直播的我们的业务情况。
This is Xu Lei. Just want to share you a few points about live stream.
首先我们认为直播在未来的话，应该是很多平台，不仅仅是电商平台，会是很多平台的一个标配的运营的工具。它不仅仅是一个销售的渠道。
First of all, we believe in the long term, live streaming will not only be a sales channel, it will become a standard operating tool for many platforms, not only the video platforms, but very standard tools for all the sales and marketing tools.
那么我们也在观察，可以看到的是，直播以前是价格为单一诉求的，那么现在以及未来将会涌现出来更多的，比如说以功能讲解型的，那么还有包括新品的发布，并不是以价格为诉求的。我相信这方面会越来越多。
And for now, a lot of people go to live streams in pursuit of its price discounts. But in the future, we think live stream will be able to provide more functions, like to giving more detailed introductions of the products, or being the platform for new products release. So there'll be multiple functions it can explore.
具体到京东的直播呢，我们是数据在快速的提升，那么商家的渗透率和参与度也是越来越高。那么，但是我们跟其他平台不一样的是，因为我们用户的消费特点所决定的，它更多的是偏专业的，而且京东这个平台并不倡导盲目消费，我们倡导的是理性的消费。所以说专业化的直播，例如像各个品牌的总裁直播，或者说品类专业的达人的直播，可能会更受欢迎。
And for JD Live, we do see the live stream data is going very well, and more merchants are engaged on this platform. The difference between JD Live and other platforms is that because of our customers' different structures, customers would like to see more professional content on our platform. So also for our platform, we always advocate more rational consumption. So we want to provide more professional information and invite the CEOs of the big companies to introduce their products on our JD Live platforms, and also invite those amateur or the specialists of certain products to give more professional introductions on JD Live.
当然，这个我们也愿意跟跟一些跟 MCN 的机构和一些优秀的艺人来进行合作，这现在的平台上也已经有。那么可以透露一点，我们发现的是京东主站的直播的订单完成率远高于第三方直播渠道的订单完成率。我相信这应该与京东平台的消费者的质量习惯和对平台的信任度相关。
And also, we are now increasing our cooperations with other MCN channels and artists. And another thing I want to share with you is that the sales orders achieved on the live streams on JD's main site is much higher than our third-party live streams. I think this is highly related to the customers' trust and qualities and shopping behaviors on JD's platform.
最后讲一下跟快手的合作。那么双方达成的合作呢，一方面是快手欣赏京东的商品供应链和服务供应链，另外一方面呢，快手有自己独特的消费人群的流量场，所以说双方会产生这种合作。
And just to briefly comment our cooperation with Kuaishou. Kuaishou look forward to cooperate with JD because of our superior supply chain in terms of products and services, and also we admire Kuaishou as a very unique platform that provides traffic flow and enjoy a very big amount of consumer cohorts. So this is a very natural supplementary for this cooperation.
但同时京东并不是简单的把商品一个报价放到快手平台上去卖，因为在这过程中我们还会有服务，所以说双方的系统的对接，这个还在持续不断的推进当中。那么我相信京东也可以帮助快手上去优化他们的整个的直播生态，这也是京东的一个价值。谢谢。
And for this cooperation, it's not simply that JD will post a price on Kuaishou for sales, but more there's a lot behind the supply chains and our services to support this cooperation. So there's still a lot of work we're doing to further connect our system. And at the same time, I believe that we will provide better values for this cooperation. And in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now approaching the end of the conference call. I will now turn the call over to JD.com's Ruoyu Li for closing remarks.
Thank you, operator. Thank you for joining us today and your continuing support. Please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions. We look forward to talking with you in the coming months.
Thank you for your participation in today's conference. This concludes the presentation. You will now disconnect. Good day.